This is an
Entel Studios production.
Recording.
Great. What's quite nice is that if we record the podcast like this, you have to be really near me.
Yes, okay.
Your face is like really near
pretty
me.
Close. I'm 12 inches away,
Yeah.
I reckon.
Yeah.
Is it okay to work in inches these days, or do you have to work in centimetres? It's about 30 centimetres.
There are certain things that I have to go.
Are you a mixed bag?
Yeah, I'm a mixed bag.
It's not good, is it?
No, it's hopeless.
How much do you weigh?
Oh, well, it's taken me 5 years to convert. I weigh 62 kilos.
Do you?
Yes.
I weigh 9 stone 10.
Yes, I've converted very slowly. It's been incredibly difficult.
Do you know what 9 stone 10 is in kilos?
Probably 61. I weigh more than you do.
I think you do. I think you're packing a bit
don't-
more
yeah, just
beef
don't
than
say
me.
it. No, just don't say it.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Making the Cut with me, Michael Douglas.
And me, Davina McCall,
We are recording.
in bed.
Yeah. This is a mobile recording. We have a mobile recording unit, which we should recommend, really. It's called a Tascam DR.
Can't hear you anymore.
I know, I was just moving it away there. It was called a Tascam DR40X. And we're using the external microphones. And you've got some lovely headphones on so you can hear what's going on.
Yes, and this week our podcast is going to be a little bit different. So we've started it in bed, but we are leaving for Spain today to go to Estepona to film a new TV show, which we won't tell you about until we've got permission to do so, but it's for Channel 4, and we're very excited. Going to miss our families, though, a lot, right?
Oh, yeah, we're in Spain for 2.5 weeks.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's going to be quite difficult, but
brutal.
FaceTime.
Yeah, there'll be lots of that.
So we will be inspiring you with lots of different things to watch, see, hear and eat and taste and do, but on our journey.
Yeah, so we're leaving in about an hour. You made me a crumpet this morning. When you make me a crumpet, what you do is you make yours first, it would seem, and then mine.
No.
And I get a residual honey on my crumpet
No,
from yours.
I licked the knife clean and then... No, but I spread your butter first.
Yeah.
Then I put my butter on.
Yeah.
Then I put my honey on.
Yeah.
Then I licked your my knife clean and cut your crumpet in
You
half.
cut it.
Well, no, but I licked it clean.
It's all very... This is not a criticism. I'm saying I like it because I don't actually like
But
honey.
I licked the knife and then cut your crumpet.
So
How
I've
bad
got-
is that?
I've got your saliva and a small amount of honey on the cut of the crumpet. It's just the right amount for me.
Is it?
So if you could just continue doing that
Okay.
for me, that's fine.
Oh, good. You liked it then?
Yeah, I mean, I
good.
generally... Something about honeys that aftertaste I really don't like.
Really?
Yeah. But I think
Really?
yeah, there's something about it.
I've never met anybody in the world that doesn't like honey.
Yeah, well... yeah,
Wow.
You have learned something new about me.
Wow.
For the last 3 or 4 weeks, I've been lacking sugar in my house, so I just haven't had any.
Oh,
and
this
every
is
time
funny.
I go and buy some, I forget. I buy a million other things, but never buy the sugar. So
Yeah.
I've been drinking coffee with maple syrup in it for the last 3 weeks. The first time I did that was absolutely delightful. I was like,
Really?
"This is the future."
I'm
So
sure
a little.
I can get that.
You only need a splash because it's so sweet, and I love maple syrup anyway.
Okay.
But yesterday I was like, I cannot drink another cup of coffee with maple syrup. So I went to my neighbour's house, Tammy, and I said, please have some sugar. Her and her mate Dave. Fella Dave, yeah. Her and her fella Dave, they're very healthy. They don't have sugar in the house. They're only
Did they have sugar?
vegetarians. She said, once I baked a cake and I might have some old sugar knocking about. And
Well,
she did.
they're that sugar-free. I
They're
might
that
have some
sugar-free.
old sugar knocking back.
Yeah.
Wow.
So they gave me, I said, do you want this back? And she went, nope. I said, if you want a cake, I'll buy you a cake. You know, you don't need a bake one. You get them from the shop.
If they want a cake, we'll bake them a cake
Yeah.
for that. That was very nice of them, very neighbourly.
I had coffee with sugar in it.
Oh, was it good?
God.
Was it?
I'd forgotten how good it tastes.
Oh my
yeah.
God.
I mean, something about sugar, isn't there? I think we watched that documentary about it. The shape of the sugar molecule fits perfectly into the receptor in your mouth.
Yes.
Which is why you love it. When
Yes.
kids eat sugar for the first time, it's like, what? What was that?
Do you remember when your kids had sugar for the
Yeah.
first time? When?
It would probably have been a piece of ice cream or something like that as a kid. But I remember the reaction.
Yeah, and their face, they look at you like, oh, thank you.
Yeah, why have you been keeping this from me?
Yeah, so I can't remember the last time I had, but I used to have 3 sugars in my tea. And rather than cutting down bit by bit, which felt like ripping off a plaster hair by hair, I did what I've classically always done and just went cold turkey.
You cut it out altogether.
Cut it out altogether. I'm an 8 cups of tea a day person, and to try and, suddenly I went down to 2 cups of tea a day because my tea was no longer pleasurable. But then after 2 weeks, 3 weeks, didn't notice.
It's funny,
and
isn't
now,
it?
if there's a quarter of a teaspoon of sugar in my tea, I'm like, ugh.
But I think that's probably why I can taste the honey on the crumpet, because it's out of context for me. I don't do sweet on crumpet. Even though I've
licked it off. Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah. Anyway, I'm not recommending maple syrup in your coffee. Stick to sugar. It's good for about a week, and that's about it.
Can I get dressed?
That would be a great idea, yes.
Okay,
we'll speak to you shortly. Hello again.
Hello.
We've moved.
I'm dressed.
That makes a change.
People can have this vision of me doing this podcast naked now for the rest of their life.
So we're in the British Airways lounge at Terminal 5.
Yeah, get us.
I know.
We've changed.
Right? We're being flown club class on this particular job, which is nice, isn't it?
Very nice.
So we've ordered breakfast. You're getting scrambled eggs on toast with sourdough.
It's my go-to breakfast.
You only like 1 slice of sourdough, though.
1 slice.
And if you get 2 slices, what do you do with the other slice?
I put some jam, some butter and some conserves on it, either honey or marmalade.
You've gone marmalade mad recently.
I have gone marmalade mad. Well, Auntie Becca.
Yeah.
My Auntie Becca made me some marmalade. And it felt rude not to, because obviously marmalade is full of sugar.
Yeah.
It is the best thing I've ever eaten. I was thinking, this is a brand like Auntie Becca's. You know Aunt Bessie's Yorkshire puddings?
Yes.
Auntie Becca's marmalade is like a thing because it's really, really good.
Well, I'll see if I can get some marmalade, because if they bring you 2 slices of toast, I know what to do with the other.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we're going to keep recording on this little journey into Spain.
Yeah.
You have got a really great recommendation, which I think is a brilliant idea, and I'm slightly irritated that I didn't have it, because I'm fully on board with this whole setup. But tell us a bit about this guy, first of all.
Okay, so
Yes, thank you.
Here we go. Very nice. Thank you very much.
Orange juice, 2 orange juice.
Very nice, thank you very
Wonderful,
much.
thank you.
Orange juice.
Someone's just brought some orange juice, and on the same tray she had 2 glasses of champagne. What is it about airports?
Yeah, they make people drink from the minute they get there. It doesn't matter what time it is.
It's 10 a.m. in the morning, and people are like, lager, champagne, vodka.
I got a flight once for Long Lost Family to Spain, and firstly, pre-lockdown. So firstly, it was an 8:30 flight, and everyone on the plane was drinking alcohol. Every single person. And then, when we got to Spain, no one checked my passport.
Oh, really?
I walked straight through. Oh. Anyway, different
Remarkable.
times.
Yeah.
So this guy got in touch with me. He's a very, very old historical friend of mine called Alan Howard, and he was a producer at MTV 30 years ago, and he basically was the man that called me after I'd done my screen test for MTV, where I'd wanted to work for 3 years. I'd been annoying them for 3 years with screen tapes and just really, really tenaciously being annoying. A mosquito. And Alan Howard was the one that called me to say, you've got the job.
Wow.
Yeah, and we worked together. We had the best fun for years and years. It was an amazing, exciting place to work. Anyway, so
but just to go back to that moment,
Yes.
Did you think my life might change forever now?
No.
Oh, you just thought,
No, I just
oh my
thought,
God, I've got the job, I'm going to go do it.
This is all I've ever wanted. I just luxuriated in the just amazing
achievement.
I think that's what it was. I didn't think that my life would change forever. In fact, I was convinced that I wanted it. I'd wanted it for so long and so badly that it was all going to be taken away from me at any moment. So I stayed working at Models One.
Yeah.
For another year, trying to do both jobs at the same time.
Just in case one got pulled from you.
And then for 5 years, I used to go into Models One occasionally and check the models in, just so I could remember how to do it when it all went wrong. But Models One were really sweet. I always said to them, "Is my job still open for me?" They were like, "Yeah, your job's still open."
So you had backup, essentially.
You
always had backup. Because it's quite funny, because you hear about people who are so single-minded that they let everything else go.
No, that wasn't me.
And the metaphor is they put all their eggs in one basket and love that basket.
I love.
Yes, this is perfect. Thank you. That's for me.
Thank you. One slice of toast.
Sorry.
The scrambled egg looks amazing.
It's half a slice of toast you've got there. What? We're going to eat and then reconvene. Oh, breakfast was good, wasn't it?
Very nice.
Just what I
indeed.
needed, yeah. So just going back to what you were talking about there, I heard you talking to a young person once about how you made it successful.
Yes.
And you used one word to describe it. Do you remember what that was?
No.
Tenacity.
Oh, do you know what?
I was going to say
it, and I thought I'm going to have it wrong, so I didn't say it. That's terrible, isn't it? Fear of failure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tenacious. That's what I was going to say. Be as annoying as a mosquito, because at one point I had one telephone number. I did a job for MTV when I was 21, and I was asked to entertain all the famous people from Victoria train station to Amsterdam. And then on the way back, I didn't have to entertain them because the idea was that they'd all be so mullered that they wouldn't eat. They'd be self-entertaining.
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
But on the way there, everyone was a bit dry. So I did this job, and it was one of the best jobs I've ever done in my life, which sparked this need to work at MTV at any cost. And I thought, I need to get a telephone number of somebody from MTV. That poor person got so annoyed with me that they were like, "Here's another telephone number at MTV. Please stop calling me." So then I just started annoying the next person, Mike Kaufman.
Okay.
Still a friend of mine.
So you being annoying.
And when someone is annoying with me, where were we? Oh, yesterday.
Yes.
A Sun journalist.
Yes.
So I was at this Sun event. There were a lot of Sun journalists there.
Yeah.
All of them wanted to talk to me. But there was one woman who just followed me around for, 5 minutes, just going, I said, "I've got to go over here to film something." She said, "I'll walk with you and talk to you at the same time."
Yeah,
and
I noticed, I saw her.
But I thought, oh, I really like you. That is tenacious.
Yes.
She's not just going to go, "Okay, don't worry." She walked and talked with me, and I gave her the interview, and well done her.
Yeah.
And I said to her at the end of it, "Well done you, because you didn't give up."
Yeah.
And you were tenacious.
Well,
I've always reward tenacity.
Yeah, I overheard you saying that one day, and I've used that story many, many times.
Oh.
So if anybody's listening and they're unsure about what they want to do with their life, or they do know what they want to do but they're afraid, the trick is just keep banging on the door.
Yeah. Well, you did that too.
Yeah, I have. And of course you get rejected time and time again. But
pick yourself up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good work. So this guy, Alan.
So Alan is
calls you up and
a lovely guy.
You got the job.
He says, "You've got the job."
Brilliant.
So we stay friends forever, right? We have the best time filming for MTV. We were very, very blessed to work at MTV in the golden age of.
Telly.
They didn't pay us a ton of money, but they had tons of money to go on amazing trips, and we went everywhere together, me and Alan. Anyway, we even went and shot for a week at Club Med. We had to go and work at Club Med for a week, just having the best time ever. That was it. Anyway, he starts this business called TalkingFamilyAlbumCompany.com, and he decided to film with his years and years of producer expertise. His mum, but shot in a really, really nice way, edit it together and basically make a record of all the family stories. With he's got a template of all the questions to ask, everything that you want to sort of get to know and everything. And obviously he's an expert producer, so it's edited in the most beautiful way. And she did die in 2020, but he's got this amazing record for himself and his kids and his grandkids and his great-grandkids to see forever, because it does disappear. I think when Pippi died, there are so many stories that I remember bits of, but I can't quite clearly remember them. And I didn't record it.
Yeah.
It's very frustrating. So actually having a physical memory of them talking and describing things, I wish I'd done it with my sister. And he said once he'd done that with his mum, he really wished he'd done it with his dad. And then friends of his started saying, oh my God, it's such a good idea. Can you do it for me? And then he thought, actually, do you know what? I'm going to start a business. This is a business idea. But what I want to say to you guys at listeners of Making the Cut is that we've got a little bit of an exciting thing, because this is a brand new fledgling company, and he's offering amazing discounts to anybody now, because he needs clients to show people what he can do and to spread the word. And in order to get clients, he wants to do everything at a very discounted rate. But the amazing thing is there are 3 options on here.
Okay.
So he's got this DIY option, which is you follow a tutorial online. He's done this amazing tutorial step by step with literally holding your hand through how to make one of these yourself. And that's on the website.
Okay.
And that is completely free.
And you can just go and watch that.
You can just go and watch that.
What I would say about that is that if you're just interested in making TV, just watch that anyway, right? Because it's going to teach you how to do an interview.
Yeah.
How to set up probably a couple of cameras, how to record audio and all that. There's loads of kind of
really helpful tips in there.
Yeah, that's worth its weight in gold, I would have thought.
Option 2 is they do absolutely everything. So there's a little camera set up at home or wherever the person who's doing the talking feels the most comfortable. It's an hour-long interview. They use the same equipment as they actually film TV programs on. Like it's the best of the best equipment. And then they are so lovely. They just put the family member at ease and kind of, you know, he is an absolute connoisseur at this kind of stuff. And they have an amazing chat about memories and then what was post-war Britain like, what was coming to this country like for the first time, or holidays, whatever. And that's discounted. I mean, this is crazy. Edited and everything, 1,200 quid.
Blimey.
I mean, proper cameras.
Yeah.
Edited, sound, everything.
Yeah.
1,200 quid.
It is remarkable that. I want to talk about this in a minute. So
And
we'll do option 3 and then
option 3 is that they do some of the work. So
Okay.
that's an option for clients who've followed the shooting guide, right? And you've gone online and you've seen that, and then you can give them the interview filmed on your phone along with the photographs. So there's photographs and interview, and they intercut it all. And they use the same equipment that they edit like TV programs on. And then they add things like animated photo moves, which is really amazing.
Great.
And music, which is very stirring, and it could be music of your choice if you wanted, and graphics and stuff with name straps, so everybody in the video is named. And that is £600. Wow. So you guys, get on it. Record your family. I'm definitely going to do this with Gabba, I think, and Becca. I think we should sit them both down and get a really good chat with them. I've missed the boat with my dad. The pair of them would be brilliant, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
And I'd like to get Uncle Simon and Auntie Neve to do it. Like, I basically want to do everybody. But listen, you guys, you should take advantage of this. TalkingFamilyAlbumCompany.com. They're amazing.
First of all, shooting it yourself is a great idea.
Yes.
Because I recorded my gran recently, only in audio. I just put my voice memos down and recorded a conversation that was an hour long between me and her, and I listened back to it.
Oh, you've
my
played me
God.
bits of that.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
It's just, and my gran's 93, so I know time is of the essence here, really. But the idea of having an actual video interview with my gran would just be fantastic, and with my mum and with my dad. I think the other thing that's worth mentioning at this point is when you point a camera at somebody, you know this, is that they open up in a way that they wouldn't open up in any other circumstances. So, you know, all right, I did my gran with a voice memo thing, but there's something about like a person's opportunity to say what they want to say, the thing they've wanted to say their whole lives. Weirdly, you put a camera on them and it pours out of them in a way that you would not expect. So you might think, I could do this myself. But actually having a proper professional team there will open up the side of the person being interviewed in a way that you won't be able to do.
And I know it's expensive, but if you did go for the full option, it makes them feel very special.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a proper film crew. It's really exciting. Your mum and your granny would freak.
I mean, a Christmas present or a birthday present, it's a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
But it's a no-brainer, and I know £1,200 seems expensive, but actually it's not expensive.
Well, in
right?
terms of a piece of historical content for your family going forward for the rest of your life, wow.
Yeah, but not only that, if you've got 2 guys, 2 cameras, an edit suite, lighting, the
what
equipment,
you're getting for it is
the day
ridiculous.
Rates. Yeah, it's ludicrously cheap. So I know you might think it's a bit expensive, but maybe you could club together as a family and do something like that. This isn't a sponsorship ad or anything. I'm just very excited about this as an idea. It's a brilliant business idea. Thank you. This is one of my favourite recommendations.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
It's right up there with tile. Which I've used 6 times today already. Great. Okay, let's cut and let's go shopping.
Great.
W.H. Smith's, let's buy some masks.
Great.
I always need a lip salve. I cannot get on a plane without some lip balm.
Yeah, and I need something minty for plane.
Yes.
Well,
I like a boiled sweet as well.
Yeah.
I think that comes from the old ear popping days.
Well, we know that.
Jolly Rancher.
We know that.
You can't get
Who
Jolly
was it that sent you a lifetime's supply of watermelon Jolly Ranchers?
I mean, off the top of my head, you put
she
me
was
on the
amazing.
Spot. She sent us the manuscript.
She's amazing. Oh!
Yes, I know.
We've got to talk about that.
Yes. Okay, let's go for a mooch about.
Okay.
And we'll
be back
very shortly. Welcome to Spain.
Yay! Hola! ¿Qué tal?
It's brilliant, isn't it?
Well, it's just nice to see clear blue skies, and we've got a vision of the sea in front of us, which is very nice.
I'm staring at the sea right now, and perhaps I could take a photo of what I'm looking at right now for the peoples.
Here,
it's my phone there. Okay. I've done the all-important thing when you check into a hotel abroad. I've created a charging station.
Charging station, amazing. I've seen that.
That's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah, that's really good.
Let me get a picture of you, and then I'm going to focus on the sea behind you, so you're dark.
I'm not going to focus on me.
Well, if I focus...
I'm joking. I'm joking.
I know, but if I do focus on you, I'll lose the sea. Look at that. That's quite nice.
Oh, wow.
That's the sea
Look
in the
at
background.
that.
So if you're watching this on the Entail app, which I strongly suggest, we haven't given Entail a big plug for a while, actually, but this podcast goes out on an app called the Entail app. And
it's free.
It's completely free. And you get loads of additional information and links to everything we talk about in the app as you're listening to it.
So if you're thinking, that last company, what were they talking about? What were they talking about, that company where you can film your relatives? There would be a link to the website on the Entail app.
And you can save bits of this podcast to a collections.
And share it.
And then share it with people. So go and have a look at the Entail app. It's a good recommendation, that, isn't it?
Yeah, Entail. That's another recommendation right there.
Very good. So, it's my turn, isn't it?
Yeah.
God, I've got lots of things I could go at, really.
Yeah.
First of all, at the airport, I bought a bag of Wotsits. It's the first time I bought a bag of Wotsits for quite a long time.
Actually, it's the first Wotsit I've had in a very long time.
Yes.
And I've had quite a lot of Fwotsits. Fake Wotsits.
Okay.
I call them Fwotsits.
They're like Cheetos and things like that? They get from Marks and Spencer's,
they
aren't they?
look like a Wotsit.
Cheesy
puffs.
Cheesy puffs.
They are not Wotsits.
No.
And I'd forgotten how not Wotsits they were until I'd had a Wotsit.
Well, I was just going to recommend Wotsits to people.
This is not an advert.
No, but I haven't had them for a while, and I bought a big bag, a grab bag as they're called. 179 calories in that bag. But it was a big, big bag, right?
We did spread those calories between 2 of us.
Over quite a long period of time.
Yeah.
We had some before the flight, some on the flight, and you have just polished off the rest.
No, the rest was one.
No, it was not. You are kidding me.
Can you stop doing this? You really dumped me in it.
They were tasty though, weren't they?
They were so good.
Oh.
And also they're like air.
Well, I think the funny thing, because I put them in my mouth and I let the saliva do the work.
Yes.
They condense down to literally nothing, don't they? They are mainly air. That's what you're buying, a bag of air,
It
largely.
feels like a science experiment is happening in your mouth.
When we went to see Tim Minchin, do you remember he had a go at Aeros? Because they were mainly air that you were buying, not chocolate at all.
I didn't know that they were called Whatsits.
You thought they were called what?
What's it?
What's it?
But
Yeah.
they're Whatsits.
You
Or
are-
maybe it is a Whatsit, but there are lots of them, so it's Whatsits.
Oh yes, plural of a what's it.
Yeah.
I thought, a bit like you, I thought there was a Z in there.
And also, it says here for 30 gram serving, and this is 36 grams, it's 148 calories. So I would imagine this is about 160, which is slightly, marginally less than you said.
Yeah,
which makes
okay.
me feel marginally better about myself.
And you didn't eat them all either.
No.
Go and buy a bag, folks, and let us know what you think. So I watched a really fab documentary based on something that somebody told me. You know, I love music documentaries. I don't really mind if I like the band or I don't like the band.
Yes, I mean, all bands are interesting because
Utterly
how they got to
unbelievable.
where they get to is fascinating.
The chances of you becoming a successful musician are so tiny.
Yeah.
The chances of 4 people coming together and creating something that then goes on to become a success is so unbelievably slim. The chances that 4 brothers would come together and make music that would go on for their lives and beyond is so unbelievably rare that it's like a scientific miracle that this music documentary. So it's a documentary about the Bee Gees. Now, I have never really liked the Bee Gees. My first introduction to the Bee Gees was through Kenny Everett singing Massachusetts. Right? So I just always saw them as a parody of pop music, really. Go on.
Can we quickly explain who Kenny Everett was for anybody
yeah, sure.
listening who might not have known, because he died quite a long time ago.
Yeah, the 90s, I think.
And he was a Capital Radio DJ who then went on to start...
Radio 1 he went on to as well, of course. He was. I don't know if
yeah.
he was Radio 1 first and then went to
maybe,
Capital or vice versa. I think he was on the original boat, wasn't he?
Hang on, I'm gonna,
do some research. But he was
do some research.
very
And
famous
so
DJ.
funny.
Hugely hilarious. Wrote all his own sketches and skits on air. It was completely prolific and a revolutionary DJ, who then got his own TV show called the Kenny Everett Show.
Oh my God. You
That-
have got to be kidding.
Yes, and it's all done in the most
But,
impossible...
it's all done in the best possible taste.
Possible taste. He dressed up as a woman all the time, didn't he? And it was hidden at the time, but he was gay. And then gradually, as the world got more and more liberal, or the Western world got more and more liberal, he came out. And very sadly, I think he died of AIDS.
HIV.
Yeah.
And died of AIDS, sadly.
But he was amazing. But this TV show, he dressed up as the Bee Gees and would sing Massachusetts. And I used to think, my dad, I'd say, what is this? And he'd say, he's pretending to be the Bee Gees. And I think, what are the Bee Gees? And then, of course, you realise you know this Bee Gees music. But I had no idea about their history or where they came from. So I think they were born in the UK, raised in Australia first. They were all amazingly musically talented and were writing records and had some success in Australia as very young lads. But they never sounded like the Bee Gees. They sounded like a regular band. They sounded a lot like...
This is what's weird, because you told me about this. That when you say they didn't sound like the Bee Gees, you mean they were not singing falsetto. So they were singing
Regular.
in a regular octave.
Yeah, I would say.
In a regular kind of key.
In a regular
A
range.
low, normal range.
And they were doing harmonies, which they were very good at, but they played the instruments really well, and they wrote really good songs. So, as good as the Beatles, like, they were that good. And then they decided to come back to Britain. And I think they came back to Manchester originally. But you'd have to watch the documentary. And then they started having some success here. And they had a few big singles as the Bee Gees, but not sounding anything like the Bee Gees that you know. And then, you know, they were getting number 1 hits of one thing or another. And then
they were hugely popular even without the falsetto voices. Yeah.
And I think they were doing world tours and stuff like that. And for whatever reason, it stopped. Like, they just became unpopular. They became a slight parody of themselves and one thing or another. And then they go back to playing working men's clubs in Manchester.
Wow.
And then they were all a bit fed up with doing all the rest of it. And then, for some reason, someone asks them, someone buys the rights to a movie that's called something like The Tribal Gangs of New York on a Saturday Night. And this slowly evolves into Saturday Night Fever. And this guy rings Barry Gibb and says, can you give us 4 or 5 songs? We're making this movie and it needs some music. and he writes for him Staying Alive.
Disco, like proper deep disco.
And they just crack out these songs, but demos, but they play the demos in the documentary, and you go, wow, yeah, I mean, they're so
Are
funky.
they falsetto at this point, and how did that happen?
No, I don't think so. So there's this great moment in it where they're singing a song regularly, and one of the producers says to Barry Gibb, just scream at the end, and he goes, ah! Like that. Wah! And they all go like, oh my God, like, do that again. And he does it again, and they go, we've got to build a song around that. So...
Was that Staying Alive?
Yeah. Staying alive!
Oh, hang on.
Yeah.
That was low-key.
That was
good.
not bad, that. I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Accidental harmony.
Anyway, I have to say, it's a bloody brilliant documentary, because what you go on to find about them is that although that goes on to be the biggest selling album in the history of pop music ever,
oh my God.
Saturday Night Fever.
Really?
It goes on to be nominated for Oscars. It sells 18 million copies.
No.
Yeah. They become massively famous all over the world, but there is one DJ in America who hates disco, and he hires an enormous baseball park, and he invites everybody to come to this baseball park and burn their disco records. I know, and hate on disco. And everybody goes there. I'm not going to ruin the rest of the story for you, but go and watch that, because it's a real turning point in kind of America's popular cultural history, and the types of people that go and burn their disco records and the types of records that are getting burnt that are not entirely disco is really telling. It's fantastic. And you realise that what the Bee Gees...
I think I know where you're going.
What the Bee Gees did, actually, was bring all sorts of groups together. The gays loved them, the black people loved them, people from all sorts of different walks of life.
Everybody.
Poor people,
I completely
rich people.
agree. I completely agree. It crossed all cultures.
Absolutely. And loads of people thought these guys were black anyway. There were black people dancing to white music. It was fantastic. And they got absolutely annihilated.
Yeah.
So then they can't make a record as the Bee Gees anymore. So they go on to writing music for other people.
Who do they write for? Pointer Sisters,
Like-
they must have done.
Diana Ross,
Wow.
Barbara Streisand. Like you, I'm not going to tell you any more about
Can I
it.
just
It is
ask you-
unbelievable
can I
the success that they had across not just like one decade, their entire lives. And of course, one of them's still alive.
I'm going to take a picture of Michael right now, because smile for me. He looks a bit like a Bee Gee, so I'm going to post that on the Entell app.
Yeah, I look like Barry in his heyday, which I have to say, when you watch the documentary,
Do you look
see
like
him.
him?
Yeah, when you see him. Well, what I'm actually going to say is, you see somebody who looks like he's been made in a laboratory. He's perfect.
A laboratoire.
He's got the
Really?
greatest physique you've ever seen.
Has he got a hairy chest?
He's got the best hairy
Oh my God,
chest.
shut up.
Right? He's got broad shoulders,
And this
a
is
slim
before
waist,
any kind of waxing.
an amazing beard,
No
the
plastic
complexion, and the hair.
The hair.
Wow.
He is a
It's
god.
blow dried to perfection.
Is it?
It's unbelievable. Anyway, they've got brilliant talking head interviews with their previous wives. Lulu, which you didn't know, was married to Maurice.
Yes, to Maurice. And are they as lovely as they seem? Please tell me they're nice people.
It is a fantastic hour and 59 minutes, I think it is. And I'd like you to watch it and see for yourself.
Okay.
But I loved them, and I loved the story, and it is utterly brilliant on every level, and you do not need to like the Bee Gees to watch this documentary. So it's a great recommendation
And a really interesting piece of cultural history.
it really is, I think, because my kids kept bobbing in and watching it with me, and they knew all the songs because they're in all sorts
Everywhere.
of animated
TikTok.
movies. Yeah, they're on the radio.
Yeah.
They're here, there, and everywhere. And even if they've been parodied over the years, it doesn't really matter. It's like it's everywhere.
But I've got to say, I know every single Bee Gees song
Yeah.
post Saturday Night Fever, because they're so iconic.
Yeah.
They are everywhere.
I'm just going to find the actual name. It's called The Bee Gees, How Can I Mend a Broken Heart?
Okay, great.
And I haven't got a connection to the Wi-Fi, so I can't know what it gets on IMDb.
I can
but
quickly
it's
tell
over-
you
I bet it's over
about Kenny
7.
Everett.
Yeah, please do.
He was
That'd be
born
great.
on December the 25th, 1944 in Liverpool. And he was a writer and an actor. And then he went on to work on Capital Radio. And he was also worked with Cleo Rockus.
Oh, that was it.
Yeah,
She was
on the show,
yes.
and he had so many catchphrases. I think I got a couple of them wrong earlier, but anyway, it was a very, very funny TV program. Very irreverent, very naughty, and I remember thinking when I was a little girl, oh my God, I really shouldn't be watching this, but this is the funniest thing I've ever watched. He died aged 50, 1995 of HIV-related AIDS, so that's really sad.
The Bee Gees documentary, How Can You Mend a Broken Heart? It says here, the exploration of the history of the Bee Gees featured revealing interviews with oldest brother Barry Gibb and archival interviews with late brothers Robin and Maurice. And there's another brother, of course, who sadly died. And just to give you some of the interviews, Eric Clapton, Mark Ronson, Noel Gallagher, Lulu, Mick Jones. There's just some fantastic talking heads in there. Chris Martin, Justin Timberlake. All of them absolutely touched by the music and the brilliance in the songwriting. So
I'm pleased that they've ended iconic.
Yes,
I'm
me
pleased
too.
that they didn't have that career and then just disappear, because that would have been an injustice.
One of the great bits of it is you get Barry Gibb as he is now, because he's the only remaining Beatle.
That's sad, isn't
Bee
it?
Gee. He's lost all his brothers. And,
that's really sad.
It's really fascinating just seeing somebody talk openly and honestly about their life when, one, they know it's probably coming to an end soonish. All their brothers have gone and they've all had this utterly unique journey throughout their life. And
funny, we were reviewing that website about recording your family history, in a funny kind of way. This documentary is doing exactly that for his kids and his kids' kids. And
anyway, I hope you really enjoy it, because it's fantastic.
Right, I want to quickly touch on, it won't take too long, but
great.
it was a film that I really, really enjoyed watching, and it was Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. And I wasn't like, are you laughing at the word?
This is a hell of a name, that, isn't it? When you go and pitch a movie and they go, what's it called? And you say that and they go, that's never going to work.
So, I mean, I had to look it up to remember it. All I can remember is the Ten Rings, but it is... And I was a bit like, do I want to watch it? I thought that the lead actor might look a bit soft, and I wasn't sure how good it was. It was magnificent. It's always good, I think, when you go to a film and you are slightly thinking it might not be that great, but I was going for Chester's birthday.
Yes.
Because you are never upset then or disappointed because you're not expecting anything. Well, it rates 8 on IMDb.
Oh, great.
And it's 2 hours 12 minutes, but you literally do not notice the 2 hours 12 minutes.
If it's over 7, it can be over 2 hours.
Oh, okay,
That's
thank
the
you.
deal. Yeah.
It's got an amazing cast. The lead actor, having said, I thought he looked a bit soft, was actually perfectly cast. He was completely brilliant. His dad is really scary and frightening, but the lead actor's also got a friend of his who is Asian, but she's a New Yorker, and she doesn't kind of get the whole kind of Asian culture thing, and it's just really funny watching them kind of dip into the really ancient kind of world that his family grew up in, the Chinese side, and they go to Macau, which is weirdly where
of course
Matilda
we've got a friend
lives.
there.
We've got a friend there, and he then reconnects with his sister. His sister is badass, like she is amazing, and they both have a kind of problem with their dad, and their dad wants them back, but for a bad reason.
Okay.
And this thing evolves. I don't want to give too much of it away, but there is the weirdest cameo in it, and it was so interesting going to see it with Chester, because sort of halfway through the film, Ben Kingsley pops up.
Yep, of course.
And he's being kept prisoner in his dad's castle to sort of entertain like a jester, like a court jester.
Okay.
But it was the weirdest thing. But he ended up being absolutely hilarious in it. And Chester leant over to me at one point during the film. And Ben Kingsley, I would hazard to say, was the most famous person in that film. He was the one huge name in it. Leans over to me and he goes, "This guy's quite good." This guy's really funny. And when we left the movie, I said, "What was your favourite bit?" And he went, "Ben Kingsley." So it was just amusing then afterwards explaining to Chester and going through all the different films that Ben Kingsley had done and realising, he's done Sexy Beast, he's done Gandhi, and he's done comedy in a Marvel film. I mean, he's unbelievable, really, when you think of his career and how brilliant he is. And that here's a 15-year-old boy, and the best thing out of that whole movie was Ben Kingsley being funny. Yeah. I thought, Christ, that's just ridiculous. Anyway, it's a brilliant film to go and see.
Okay.
Definitely worth a watch. Go to the cinema, people, because cinemas are empty. There is literally no one there. It's fantastic to go and sit in the cinema. Lots of space, tons of seats free, and we really need to support film. Oh,
yes, I totally agree. I've been to the cinema 2 or 3 times in recent weeks. It's just such a nice experience, isn't it? I absolutely love it. We went to the opera a couple of years ago.
Yes.
And Ben Kingsley was there.
Yes.
And I very nearly went over and said hello, thinking that I knew him.
Oh my God, I've got to talk about what happened.
This is going to segue into that.
Yeah.
So I saw him and I thought, hey, you all right? And then I thought, no, I don't know, do I? You're Gandhi. Should have said that, shouldn't I? Oh, you were great, helping all those people. But tell everybody what happened to you today, because it was bloody hilarious.
So me and Michael and Cheryl's my makeup artist, were all sat at the airport waiting to board our plane. And I had my mask down because I was drinking a coffee, and this man strides over to me and he says, hi. And I say, hi. And he says, it's me. And he pulls down his mask and I think, I still don't know who you are. And then he gave me a kiss after he'd pulled down his mask, kissed me on the cheek, and he went, it's lovely to see you. And I said, do I know you? And he went, yes, of course you know me. And he went, it is you, isn't it, Penny? And I went, no, it's not, Penny. And he'd gone in for the full kiss and everything. And even worse, I was sat down and he was standing. So it was kind of a lean-in, kiss, proper kiss.
Not only that, was that quite a number of people had recognised you. So a lot of people was watching as well, this whole interaction going on. It was very ballsy of him to go to somebody that he kind of pretty sure he knows and then to kiss them.
Yes.
I was like,
and then his friends all went, he always does this. I went, does he?
Carol Vorderman's got a restraining order on him. It was very funny. And then he was completely unembarrassed by the situation.
Which was so lovely because it made it much easier for me.
Yeah, sorry, God, I thought you were Paula. And it was like, I thought, he handled that very well. He
styled it out.
He totally did. So, I mean, he's unlikely to be listening to this, but if you are, whatever your name is, Andrew. Done. Was it Andrew?
Yes.
Penny, you did a wonderful job of handling that.
Thank you.
I have to call you Penny for the rest of this
quite like the name
trip.
Penny.
Yeah. God, I don't know where to begin. I'm going to begin with the BBC iPlayer, and I watched a thing called Parkinson at 50. Now, we started to watch this a while back, and we didn't bite down on it, really.
We didn't really.
No, because his son interviewed him. I didn't realise that his son had produced, I think, and directed the last series of Parkinson. But his son interviewed him in this kind of, I guess, trying to be a bit like his dad type situation. And to me, it just kind of didn't really work, I don't think. But then they went on to do a lot of archival interviews with Parky throughout the years. God, they were so good. Obviously, you've got all the Muhammad Ali stuff in there, and you've got...
Emu?
No, not Rod Hull Emu, the classic Billy Connolly stuff. But there's a brilliant bit with Peter Ustinov. Now,
I totally remember this.
So, do you know who Peter Ustinov was? Or
yes.
Yeah. So, who was he? Because I don't really know. He was an actor,
really famous actor, yeah.
But there's a bit in it where Parkinson's walking through the corridors of the BBC ready to go to make his show. And Dudley Moore is walking through the corridors as well, of course. So Dudley Moore says, you've got Peter Ustinov on. Can I come and sit in the audience? And he says, yeah, great, please do. So he comes to the audience, and then they have this interview, which is really fun and jolly and everything, because he's quite a big, kind of jolly-looking chap, Peter Ustinov. And then Dudley Moore says, I just wanted to meet you. And he comes out of the audience to meet him. And then he says, play the piano, Dudley. So Dudley sits at the piano and starts playing. And then Peter Ustinov starts singing, and they start riffing opera like proper full-on operatic singing, both of them, as Dudley is just making stuff up on the piano. It's one of the greatest bits of television I have ever seen, and it's. Is
it one doc that we were watching?
Parkinson at 50 is the one document.
Whole thing. So but could we go and find that bit on YouTube?
Yes, we can. And off the back of that, the BBC are running Parky's all-time best interviews.
Oh, great.
So all the Muhammad Ali ones are in one chunk. All the Billy Connolly ones are in one chunk.
On the iPlayer?
On the iPlayer at the moment. There's loads of stuff. But there is one particular interview, and I haven't got the name of it in front of me, that he says Parky's greatest interview, and it's from a Jewish, I think a Jewish professor who goes to visit Auschwitz and makes a documentary about it, and Parky interviews about it, and he says it's the best, most meaningful, brilliant interview I ever did with anybody, hands down. And I haven't watched that interview yet, but that is also on the iPlayer for you to watch, and I'm going to watch it, obviously, and then maybe I'll talk about it next week. But the whole thing, they're obviously celebrating Parky at the BBC. It's not Viktor Frankl, no. I can't remember who it was. I mean, I'll easily be able to find out, but I'll maybe talk about it next week. But it's just a very, very moving bit about
filmography.
Oh yes, please do.
Of Peter Ustinov.
Yes.
Spartacus, Death on the Nile, Billy Budd, Logan's Run.
Wow, I remember that.
Luther, Salem Witch Trials, Victoria and Albert. These are all really old films.
Yeah.
Animal Farm.
Oh, is it Animal Farm?
Alice in Wonderland.
The Orson Welles movie, I presume.
Lorenzo's Oil. Anyway, he's prolific.
But one of the other interviews is Orson Welles, of course, that Parky interviewed. Which, it's just brilliant. These people don't exist anymore, and I don't even know if they've ever been replaced by anybody.
I feel like. I mean, I think Piers Morgan is as close as you'll get to an interviewer who is not trying to look funny or anything, but Piers Morgan is still a kind of celebrity in himself. There's not an interviewer. I felt that Parky had no ego. Yeah. Parky did not want to be a star at all. Yeah. He brought no ego to any interview at all. Yeah, so it's a slightly odd comparison for Piers Morgan, but I think Piers Morgan has always had a sort of yearning to be in the public eye, and whether you love him or hate him, he's done very well, and so there is a little bit of that in his life stories, but his is as close as possible as you could get to a serious interview, an in-depth interview with someone. I totally agree. But we are missing an egoless interviewer. Yeah, well, I was thinking that because all the time I love Graham Norton. And he doesn't really have an ego, but his is a lot more comedy. You don't get to the nitty gritty of someone. Parky got to the real nitty gritty of people, into their real. Kirsty Young would be the person because she was amazing. She would be Parky. Yeah, she's got no ego. She does tons of research. She goes forensic. Yeah. She went forensic on people on Desert Island Discs. And she has great compassion and empathy and intellect. And those three things make a great interviewer, don't they? Yes, I totally agree. She's really missed at the moment. I don't know what she's I miss her so much. But can she go back? Can you come back to work, please? Please, can you come back to work, Kirsty? A couple of shout-outs. Have you got anything else for us at the moment? I've got loads, but I'm going to save that for next week. I mean, It's great. We've got lots of stuff to talk about at the moment. We've been away. Lots of people watched the documentary, The 9/11, The War Rooms. Got back to us and just said how great it was. Someone here, Jackie Day, says, great podcast again. Thank you. You two make me laugh. Great. Oh my God, picking teeth with paper. Yeah, sorry, remember I did that. Yeah, mind the paper cuts. Yeah. She's right. It says, I usually help at Dine with Davina. Oh! I hope Are you coming, again. Jackie? Not sure as yet. But you would get my vote anytime for Best Presenter and new up-and-coming presenter, MD. Great. Yeah, they should have had a new up-and-coming podcast at the National Television Awards, maybe. Yeah. Joel Dommett did a great job, didn't he? God, I know you talked about Joel last week, and
I paid particular attention at the NTAs to his work, and he did a fantastic job.
And you know what's extra hard at the NTA? It's a very difficult job to present that because on telly it looks absolutely amazing, but when you're presenting it in the room, not one single person is listening to a word you say.
Yes.
We're all talking. It's terrible.
You've got to play it for the camera,
play
basically.
it for the camera.
So this is Helena_author.
Helen Lacey.
Oh, is it Helen Lacey? Oh, it's got a name underneath that. Yeah, okay, great. Thank you. It says, just caught up on the new episodes. Love to have you back again. Just wanted to recommend a couple of things that you may well already be aware of. One is of a show I know you've both seen, Come From Away, but is now available on Apple TV.
Oh!
That's brilliant, isn't it? So we recommended Come From Away about 2 years ago. We went to see it. It's a musical here in
so good.
London. But Helen is saying it's on Apple TV. My 12-year-old son absolutely loved it. God, that's great. My other recommendation, you talked about the Berlin Wall in a previous episode as a podcast account. It's absolutely incredible that you would love it. It's on the BBC Sounds. Let me just press the link there and see where we got.
Intrigue, it's called.
Intrigue.
And episode 1 is Tunnel 29, The Escape. Oh, it sounds good.
It does sound good, doesn't it?
It sounds good.
Thanks very much for that, Helena.
Thank you.
That's fantastic. Let me skim down here. What have we got here? Just watch this amazing documentary. Yeah, I got loads of messages about the war room stuff. You know, it was amazing. Samantha Wright, 72, has sent us a poem. It says, Love after love. The time will come when, with elation, you will greet yourself arriving at your own door, in your own mirror, and each will smile at the other and welcome, and say hi, sit here, eat. You will love again the stranger who was yourself. Give wine, give bread, give back your heart to itself, to the stranger who has loved you. All your life, whom you ignored for another, who knows you by heart, take down the love letters from the bookshelf, the photographs, the desperate notes. Peel your own image from the mirror. Sit, feast on your life. That was Derek Walcott. He sounds like a footballer.
Theo's brother,
yeah,
Derek.
Yeah, but that's a great poem, and it probably runs off the back
We're
of...
getting very highbrow.
Yeah, well, it runs off that Rumi poem, I think, that I read out last week, and I've gone on to explore a few books of his, so there's some great books you can look at from Rumi.
Oh, well, tell us about that next week.
Yes, I will.
Because that's worth a proper mention, I think.
Yeah, me too. Well, I'd quite like to dig around and have a little look. And then Natalie, Natbags 2001 says, I've just watched Coda with my son. What a brilliant film. Thanks for the recommendation. Yeah. So we've had a few people that have recommended Coda.
Yeah. And the other one is White
Lotus.
White Lotus. Everybody is talking about that.
And
White Lotus, and we haven't watched it, and we've got to do it. Can we watch that here?
Yeah, we can watch it here.
Okay.
But I know we've had a lot of recommendations for White Lotus from our listeners, not just from people outside it. So we will get around to watching that. For those that have seen it and recommended it to us, Thank you. We have heard nothing but great things. Great, you've got to go down for a meeting, right?
I have.
Are you allowed to, when's this new show going to go out? Do you know? January.
Can't really talk about it.
We can't talk about it?
No. I'll find out tonight if we can talk about it, but I don't think we can yet.
Okay. It's too filthy, isn't it? It's like, it's too hardcore.
No, it's not that.
Is it not that?
It's just a secret.
Okay.
But it's funny.
One of the things I'm worried about is that I have to do your hair in the morning.
Yes.
And then you go to work. And then we get like 3 or 4 hours off during the day. And then...
I'm going to swim.
You're going to swim in some
I'm going to get wet.
Do your hair twice a day.
Yes.
I'm thinking of... I wonder if there's continuity issues about doing your hair in the morning.
No, there isn't.
Is there not?
No, different outfit.
Different outfit?
Yeah.
So we could do like a down do for the day.
In the morning.
And updo for
and then updo for the evening.
Great.
Yes!
I'm very excited. I brought headscarves and little things that we could maybe do.
Oh, I love headscarves.
Yeah,
yes.
I thought some like little messy top knots with headscarves
yes,
tied
yes,
into them
yes,
and things
yes.
like that. Yeah.
See.
So you feel like
Spanish.
A Spanish.
But not allowed to culturally appropriate.
No, I'm not allowed to do the Spanish accent. No.
No, I mean, you can get cancelled. But
I don't want to get cancelled.
I'd rather you didn't, because I quite like presenting this with you.
Yeah. Would it be bad if I did your hair wearing a sombrero or holding a donkey?
Yes.
Okay.
Unless it was a piñata full of sweets,
in
which case it's a game. I think we're allowed to culturally appropriate that.
Full of what's-its.
Yes.
You can break it open. Hey, it's nice to talk to everybody. We'll be doing another one of these out here.
Yes, we will.
And I'll also do a couple of hair clinics out here as well, if you're
great.
interested. So on my Instagram, I don't know when, but I will put it on my stories.
Oh, that's such a good idea.
Yeah, well, while I'm out here, I might as well get on with doing bits of work. And,
yeah, great.
Trying to help people out with their hair. So, thanks, everybody.
Thank you very much. We'll see you next week.
Take care.
Bye.
At Oxygen, when it comes to true crime, we are obsessed with real investigations, real justice, and real criminals.
I'm someone who has been a murderer for almost 20 years.
The worst thing I've ever seen in my life.
That's just the Oxygen way. We live and breathe true crime. I guess you could say it's in our blood. When you think about it, nobody does it better, bigger, wilder than Oxygen. True crime isn't just what we do. It's the only thing we do. Oxygen. We live and breathe true crime.